As the general election draws near, the race for Oklahoma's 2nd Congressional District is receiving national attention. The seat is currently held by Democrat Dan Boren, who is not running for re-election. But recent polls suggest the district is one of several nationwide that could see a party switch. The race pits Democrat Rob Wallace, a former state and federal prosecutor from Fort Gibson, against Westville Republican and plumbing business owner Markwayne Mullin. Mullin says voters will be choosing between socialism and the republic. Wallace maintains the choice isn't between right and left, but right and wrong.
The race for Oklahoma's 2nd Congressional District is a pivotal one for both major parties. Democratic nominee Rob Wallace and Republican hopeful Markwayne Mullin, along with independent candidate Michael Folks of Huebner, are vying for the seat being vacated by Dan Boren, the lone Democrat in Oklahoma's congressional delegation. Matt Pinnell is the state Republican Party chair.
I mean, this is really the gold medal prize for us this year in the state of Oklahoma. There are no other statewide races other than the presidential race. This has really turned into a statewide race. I mean, there are Oklahomans all across the state that are talking about finally winning back the 2nd congressional seat that we haven't held since Tom Coburn held it.
Coburn served 6 years in the House before running for U.S. Senate and has thrown his support behind Mullin's candidacy, as well as attending fundraising events. Wallace has attracted endorsements from some of the state's top Democrats, including former Oklahoma Governor and U.S. Senator David Boren.
For the sake of Oklahoma, for the sake of eastern Oklahoma, for the sake of jobs in our state and particularly in this district, and really for the future of our country, it's absolutely essential that the people of this state, people of this district, send Rob Wallace to Congress.
Mullin and Wallace are both riding a wave of anti-Washington sentiment. Wallace taps into that dissatisfaction with Congress as he addresses supporters across eastern Oklahoma.
And I have asked groups like this everywhere I've been, if you think your interests are being represented in the United States House of Representatives tonight, I want you to raise your hand. I will tell you that in a year, not a single hand has been raised. Not one.
Mullin is also pointing a finger at Washington, but says the problem isn't Congress, it's the president. Mullin cites government regulations, which he blames on the Obama administration for holding back the nation's economic recovery.
If we're serious about keeping jobs here and bringing jobs home, we need to stop burdening small businesses with excessive and unnecessary regulations. We need to get government out of our way.
The 2nd Congressional District stretches across eastern Oklahoma from the Kansas border to the Red River and includes some of the most economically depressed areas of the state. Mullin says his experience as a successful businessman makes him the only candidate in the race who knows how to bring jobs to the area.
If you've never created a job before, how do you understand what a job package is? How are you really going to understand what it takes to create jobs in the private sector if you've never done it?
Wallace says job creation is one of his top priorities as well, and he believes the key is more investment in education.
My opponent wants to do away with the Department of Education. Doing so would cost over $1 billion to career tech right now. We don't need to be dismantling career tech. It's the place where we get people ready for the jobs that are coming here.
Wallace says developing another of the area's vital resources will also attract jobs to the region.
The reality is we've got a lot of water here in eastern Oklahoma. We've got water at altitude that has quantity and quality, and that's a resource that can draw jobs here. And we need to be paying attention to it as that kind of resource, not as a product to be shipped someplace, to be sold to Texas like my opponent wants to do or the people that support him want to do.
The fight over water has spilled over into campaign ads.
There's special interests trying to give away our water to Texas and other states, putting our economy, our way of life, and our jobs at risk. It's wrong, and I won't stand for it.
This is our water. It's something we should protect for our kids and for future generations. I will never allow the government to sell our water.
Mullin denies charges that he wants to see water sold to Texas or transferred from eastern Oklahoma to other parts of the state, and doesn't believe Congress should become involved.
Truth is, it's a state issue, and the state and the landowners and the tribes are going to come to an agreement. Everybody wants that to happen. We don't want to make this a federal issue, but we should never be for selling water period.
Mullin and Wallace also have different views of the federal health care law. Mullin says he would vote for immediate repeal of the Affordable Care Act if elected.
Seems like you get punished for being successful, for being out there and pushing every day, for taking the extra step. As I say, taking the other 2 steps at the end of every day. Everybody has a time when their day ends. Most business owners, though, we go 2 more steps at the end of each day, and now you're getting punished for taking those 2 steps, and Obamacare is the one that's hitting us across the jaw the hardest.
Wallace says there have already been 33 attempts to repeal the Affordable Care Act, and none have been successful.
What we've got to do is we've got to focus on what the reality is of being able to move forward with health care reform, making health care more affordable for everyone. We've got to be taking steps to do exactly that. And if the ACA framework is still in place, then obviously that's the framework that someone's going to have to deal with then to get to that point.
Mullin says he's not entirely sold on the Ryan plan to change Medicare, but does favor proposals that would allow seniors to choose between the traditional government fee-for-service or private plans.
I think the private industry can always do a job better than the government can. A lot of times the government gets into situations and they make things worse. But the exact program, it's just like any business venture. Before you step off into it, make sure you do your research.
Wallace calls proposals to privatize programs like Medicare and Social Security a bad idea.
We made promises to our seniors in the form of Social Security and Medicare, and they have paid into those systems their entire lives based upon those promises. We need to keep those promises. I'm against privatization of Social Security. I'm against voucherization of Medicare. By the same token, going forward, we've got to make sure that we're working hard to look at the longevity of those programs as well.
Recent polls show the race leaning toward the GOP, but each candidate believes momentum is on his side. Democrats maintain a clear advantage in the number of registered voters, but Republicans say those voters tend to be more conservative than the national party.